Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world. Welcome to Web3 Warriors, episode 85, featuring Creatress, an amazing VR performance artist and 3D sculptor, or Sculptress as she goes by. Welcome, Creatress. How are you doing today?
Hey, David, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, Sculptress.
That's it, Sculptress. I got to get that right. Thanks for joining. I'm really interested in hearing your story and being able to talk to you. I always think back to one of my first, actually it was my first time in New York City, and I was there for NFT.NYC, and I went to this really dope event at a nightclub in New York. It was all about NFTs, and who else is on the stage but Creatress, dancing in VR and creating some amazing artwork live for everyone to see. It was a very phygital experience. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that and some of your other performance art that you do in VR. But it was really something to behold and a cool concept for, everyone else is just partying, dancing like any other, bar night. And here you're there doing your performance art, and it's just like adds a whole other kind of vibe to it. So that was really cool. So needless to say, today on Web3 Warriors, we're going to be talking about virtual reality and really XR, which is extended reality, and, how the digital world is impacting the real world, and also how that impacts Web3 and how, blockchain and cryptocurrency is really bringing real world value into the digital world. And so we've talked about XR in a lot of different ways on this show before, but today we're going to be looking at it really in the artistic lens specifically, and from the angle of performance art, which is a little bit new for sure. So welcome everyone to the Web3 Warriors. I'm David Krome, your host. I go by Krome in the Metaverse. Really looking forward to talk about virtual reality and how it's really impacting the space, and also I would say leading the conversation around adoption, because there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of competing ideas about what are we aiming for, right? Are we aiming for quote unquote mass adoption? Are we aiming to just create like a cool counterculture that is fun and engaging and artistic and creative, and eventually other people will just kind of hop on and join us? So that's part of the conversation here as well. So with all of that, I want to welcome Creatress. Really excited to talk VR with you. But maybe before we dive into that, if you could share a little bit about your background and maybe what brought you to Web3 and NFTs, I'd love to hear that first. And thank you again for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. So a little background, I guess. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, which really just means I love many art forms, many mediums. So VR performance and 3D sculpting in VR is just like my main focus right now. It's what I really love. But I have a background in all types of art, oil painting, watercolor painting. I just did a watercolor painting class yesterday. Glass blowing, jewelry, fashion. So like I'm wearing some of my 3D art on my clothes right now, actually. Nice. But we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I just, Creatress, I think defines me at my core. I'd like to create in whatever medium I can really get my hands on and whatever I'm excited about. So yeah, I went to art school, originally from Mexico, currently based in Maui.
Nice.
Web3 came around by cryptocurrency tokens. Kind of was like my first little into Web3. So yeah, that was in 2018 about. So
oh, wow.
Here we are.
Nice. And I think I first came across you on Clubhouse in 2021, part of that, class of 2021 on Clubhouse, where there was a lot of interesting synergy and collaboration and all kind of cool creativity happening in the NFT space specifically. But what made you think to like incorporate VR? Like when you first started looking at, the concept of NFTs and being able to put art on the blockchain, was it VR from the beginning? Like, have you always been interested in virtual reality, and this just kind of like was a new opportunity to do something there?
Yeah, I mean, 2021, January 2021, I have just Clubhouse, right? January 4th, 2021 is like my Clubhouse birthday. And I know this because Clubhouse makes it part of your like profile. It's at the bottom of your profile. Right. It's something I think most apps have started doing. Like Twitter has it right there. Joined March 2018, I think was for Twitter. Anyway, I mentioned the date because in December for Christmas, I got the Oculus. So I got the Oculus in December 2020. The next month, I joined Clubhouse and learned about NFTs. And so it was just like what I was creating and the medium of art that I was interested in at that very time when I decided to mint an NFT was 3D VR art.
That's
But
really cool.
I have since done other NFTs. Like I did an NFT of a glass sculpture that I made. And so, I've kind of dabbled in other things.
So you're still dabbling. You're not exclusive to the VR artwork necessarily. So the Oculus came first, is what I'm hearing. That's pretty cool. And so you were already kind of dabbling with art before you learned about what NFTs were. And how has the NFT journey helped you? And where, how do you feel about the experience overall? Like if you never heard about NFTs, you think you'd still be making a lot of art in VR, or are you really seeing that like NFTs kind of created a new lane for you and a new avenue?
Yeah, I think they definitely created a new avenue because I'm not really sure how else I would be selling like the art that I make. That's not to say I sell my art constantly or anything like that, but like how would an artist sell a 3D sculpture otherwise without NFTs? I'm really not sure.
Yeah,
there's not really like right.
There
like,
might be some kind of fiat way to do it, but it wouldn't be as like clear and like very obvious peer-to-peer transaction. There'd probably be some middle people in there, right?
Yeah, it doesn't even make really like it's yeah. So I think it was just a really great timing, honestly. But that's not to say I don't have a physical art that I minted as well. Like I mentioned, the sculpture, I have paintings too. So eventually I would like to mint that stuff as well. And I think I will. But yeah, 3D art is just kind of where I've been, focused on the past, I guess, 3 years now.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm looking at some of your NFTs. So we're actually walking around in your spatial corner of the metaverse here, where there's a lot of your really cool 3D creations. Like, what would you say inspires your 3D creations if you had to choose like kind of a theme, or even just, I don't know, just core inspirations? Like what inspires your 3D art?
Theme, definitely a theme. Well, the majority of them, like for example, the one we're looking at right now, that's a butterfly. I don't know if you can tell the pink,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of, and that one is a very like obvious butterfly, right? But the other ones you're looking at in the other room, like those are all butterflies too, but they're extrasolar butterflies. So like other exoplanets, right? Planets in other solar systems.
Nice.
So
alien butterflies,
I guess, exactly. Alien butterflies, literally, right? I call it extrasolar, but like if you really like think about it for a second, and what I'm really saying is like alien extraterrestrial butterflies. And so if you look at them, like they also are supposed to look kind of like spaceships. Like the one that you're right in front of right now, the 3D thing, that's not a butterfly. That one is something different. That one is just like an abstract that I made during a performance. But the ones on the walls, like the ones on the frames that you're looking at, those are all extrasolar butterflies, different from different planets. So I guess the central themes would be space and like maybe like tech or spaceships, but also the lore of space. Like if you look at the actual descriptions of these, they each have a planet that they come from, and it's a real exoplanet that I found on the NASA website. So it's
some research on that.
Yeah, I like space stuff. Is
super cool. That's super cool. So that's part of the inspiration for sure. But looking at this one that you said was kind of just how did you word it again? It's like freestyle kind of thing. When you're dancing, you're doing the VR performance art.
Yeah, that abstract. That one that we're looking at right here was made in San Diego at San Diego NFT SDNFTCon, I think they called it.
Nice.
A couple of years ago, in I believe 2021. No, it was 2022, just last year.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I was I got invited. It wasn't San Diego. I think San Francisco did an NFT thing. I almost went down there.
Oh.
But yeah, that's really cool. So you attend a lot of Web3 events. Obviously, like I was mentioning, I saw you at NFT.NYC my first time going, and I was there last year, and you were there last year as well. So I know we connected there 2 times in a row, but you definitely seem to be on the circuit. I know I was listening to you talking about VeeFriends in one of your Twitter spaces. Also an amazing Twitter spaces host. This has layers to it, right? Definitely got to follow Creatress on the Twitters.
There's layers to this.
There's layers to this, right?
Close.
I was close.
Yeah.
Yes, there's layers to this. Everyone check it out for sure. But I heard you talking about VeeFriends on there too. So how important is it to you to kind of attend Web3 events, and how have you found it?
Yes, super important for me to attend these events. I think when you are in person, people can know you so much more than they can know you online. Although online is getting better and better, especially with tools like Twitter Spaces and like we had Clubhouse. It's grandpa, and yeah,
sad that it's
I don't know.
when it's the younger app, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
The audio part of it. Twitter didn't have audio Twitter Spaces until Clubhouse did it first. Just trying to respect provenance. But anyway, in terms of events, it's definitely very important for me. I have found it really fun and exciting to meet new people in person and tell people about my art and show them my art. And I mean, my performances, it's not the same watching a video to just being there live. And I think since you've been there, you could probably, attest to that even better, because you were in the audience. I wasn't there. I was doing the thing. You're the, so, and to that, I want to ask you a question, because I'm confused on when you went to NFT.NYC. Was it 2021 or 2022? I'm trying to
2022, because I don't think you performed in 2023, right? That was the one just this year. But the year before, I think it was JJ's event. I can't remember what it was called.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice though.
That was Nebula Nightclub.
Nebula, that's it.
Yes, Nebula Nightclub in New York City. That was my first nightclub appearance, and it was in New York, and it was really cool. Yeah, they had screens on the wall on the
epic.
ceiling.
Yeah, it was
remember
crazy.
that?
Yeah,
it's like that. I think that was my peak.
Yeah, that was peak digital phygital, really, like mixing the two, and the fact that the screens were everywhere, so it was really like you were the center of the show, but everyone was just kind of like dancing themselves or drinking or talking, and you're just there, just like in the zone. It was awesome. And then seeing it all kind of come to life, like in real time, being able to actually like watch the art slowly take form. It was really cool. So speak to that performance art. What really inspired, like, it's one thing to say I'm going to create art in virtual reality, which in and of itself is not that popular or well known as an art form yet, but then to actually add that performance art layer to it, like, had you always been into performance, or like you just kind of just owned it and took it and decided I'm just going to dance in public and create some art, like what really inspired that?
Oh my gosh, when you put it that way,
it sounds into this tiny microphone that she's holding right now, which is quite comical.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I guess you could say I've always have been on some level into performance. I think it's part of my culture. Like I mentioned, I'm from Mexico. And in Mexican culture, and I don't want to generalize, right? But in my family, and so and the majority of my family is like this, and a lot of my friends from Mexico, right? We like to dance. There's a big emphasis on dancing, all right? At all these parties, right? And honestly, it's like there should be more emphasis on dancing everywhere, because it's so good for you.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
There's literal benefits, like psychological and physiological benefits, right? And then it's like a workout, so you could actually so started out dancing like in every school thing. Like they put the kids to dance. You learn like folklorico, you learn like routines, and then you do it for the parents. I mean, I think kids do it in the United States too, but over there it's like extra. And then I took theater. I was in theater, so I mean, there's that element,
So you're not a shy person, is what you're saying,
right? And then the live painting. I've done live painting too with acrylics before. And so it seemed natural, because also with VR, I love what I do and I think it's so cool. And the natural way to show it to people was with a screen. And so once you got a screen and I'm wearing it, it's like, okay, now it's a performance. So it was just very natural. I wasn't like, I want to be a performance artist. It was just, yeah.
Just came to be as your natural creativity, hence the name Creatress, just creating on different layers, right? Different layers. Man, this metaverse space really just keeps going. Like this gallery space is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You got a video screen and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you go in there, it's like an auditorium, and then you can press play on that. You gotta click it actually, and it'll play a whole video.
I have the audio off so that it doesn't interrupt us, but we'll get the video going just to show some people. Yeah, I was going to ask, when it comes to the performance art, do you always mint it every time, or do you have like a kind of like quality metric that you use? Like if I love it, then I'll mint it, or like, is it minted for the sake of provenance? Like I was at this place performing on this day, so I'm going to mint this no matter what, kind of thing. How do you, tackle that kind of conversation around minting the artwork that you create there?
It's a great question. I have not minted every single one, but now that you say like, oh, minted for provenance, I'm like, oh God, I should have done it. But I know, well, here's the thing. Minting costs money. It costs gas. Well, unless you do it on certain chains. And sure, I could mint them on other chains, I guess, just to have the provenance. But then there's that whole thing where artists don't really want to mint on multiple chains. Like you don't want to mint the same art on multiple chains. Although now I'm kind of starting to think maybe you can.
Some people seem to be getting away with it. I still think it's a bit of a faux pas personally. I think like in music I can see it, but when it comes to like actual art, like I feel like you want to, I don't know, to each their own, I guess. There's no hard line rules, right?
What if the chain goes down?
Yeah. I mean, I like to think when it comes to Ethereum, that's not likely, but
not Ethereum,
yeah.
Exactly. But then it costs a lot.
It costs money. Yeah,
it costs the most to mint on Ethereum. So that's I don't know. All right, we won't go into that because that's I feel like we could talk about that for a while.
Yeah, well, it's a good topic in this conversation because really, that is a huge factor when looking at kind of the creator economy side of things, right? And how easy it is to mint your NFTs. But then the other piece of that, like you said, it's a huge conversation, is around layer twos, right? Because that's how they, at least in the Ethereum realm, have now solved for high gas fees, is by creating these new layer twos, whether it's Polygon, Optimism. I can't even remember. There's quite a few of them out there now. But but the argument is those may fail one day, whereas Ethereum is sufficiently decentralized, sufficiently on its massive network that and Bitcoin seem like the two that are pretty much like not going to fail. So that's the advantage. And now we have some people trying to make NFTs on Bitcoin, which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I want to make NFTs on Bitcoin, but actually I lied. Minting on ETH is not the most expensive. Minting on Bitcoin is the most expensive, and that is why I haven't made an ordinal yet or minted my art there, because I'm like, I don't know.
You kind of need like some angel BTC investor to be like, I really think you should have an ordinal. Here's some Bitcoin for you.
And I'm open to that. Yeah. I'm open to that. If anybody listening wants to be a Bitcoin angel and help me mint some stuff, I'm here for it.
There you go.
I got plenty of art. Let's do it.
That's it. It would be dope. Get some VR art on the Bitcoin blockchain. Awesome. That's really cool. When looking at those different blockchains, it sounds like you're kind of partial to Ethereum. Have you been experiencing, Solana or Tezos or any other kind of competitors at all? Or are you really minting all your NFTs on Ethereum for now, for the most part?
Yeah, I'd say mainly Ethereum, but I have tried other chains. Pretty early on, I minted on a BNB chain, which was a Binance coin chain. And that platform I don't think is really around anymore, but they gave me coins to mint on their platform, which I thought was really cool, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it. And so I did that early on. I've minted on Polygon. I have a few things on Polygon. And Tezos, and I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting right now, but yeah, I've minted on a good amount of platforms, but I find that it's kind of difficult. The more spread out you are, the more it's like, okay, I've got this here and I've got this here, and then the marketing and promotion gets a little
Yeah, so that's a good point. Speak to that, because I think there's a good marketing reason to try to build in one community as opposed to maybe trying to be, stretched too thin, arguably, right? And then not really putting in the effort just on one. But the flip side, many people see that there's value in different kinds of communities on different chains, so maybe you market differently depending on where you minted. But to your point, that's a lot, right? So how have you found that, and are you finding that the Ethereum community is kind of the most welcoming and supportive? How are you feeling about that conversation when it comes to marketing and the different blockchains?
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm not really sure. I think Ethereum definitely has been the most receptive audience so far, and I guess supportive. But Tezos, people are also really welcoming. They're really nice. And so it's hard to say like, oh, these people are more supportive than, but the majority of the people that I interact with, I'd say, are using Ethereum more than Tezos for sure. Or
Okay.
any other chain. Solana, I don't even have a Solana wallet. I'm ashamed to say, but
Yeah, it's been pumping a little bit lately, not financial advice, but I've always liked Solana from a gaming standpoint, because it does kind of solve that whole gas fee situation. That's their argument. But the flip side, the network obviously not quite as durable and decentralized as Ethereum is. But overall, I think their NFT community is pretty active, and it's a good one to look at for sure. I would recommend, at least, but I know not everyone feels the same way about Solana. But yeah, Phantom is the wallet. It's worth checking out for sure. Awesome.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Thanks.
No problem. Just thinking out loud. What do you think about the NFT space right now? Like, how do you feel about kind of the way things are going? And do you think that we're ever going to kind of see the kind of insane speculation and just like real energy that we had, 2021 into 2022 before the FTX and everything fell off a cliff? How are you feeling about the space? Maybe that's just my reading of the space. Maybe it's not that bad for you. I don't know.
No, it's been pretty bad I feel like they said it was like a 19-month bear market.
Right.
That we are kind of coming out of, maybe.
Hopefully.
We're still not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, because we are going into Christmas time, and usually people pull, from there to buy holiday things, go on holiday vacation. I don't know, but we're not.
Might get a Christmas dip. We'll see. Get a holiday dip. That'd be nice.
I think most years there is a holiday dip, but anyway, we're not speculating.
No.
I don't know anything. I think I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
Just the NFT space right now. How do you feel about it and where it's kind of going? Optimistic, pessimistic?
I try not to get too optimistic about it, because just when I get optimistic and I tell my partner, hey, oh my gosh, look, NFTs are up. And it's like next day, it's like, oh, this thing happened. So I don't know. I think I'm as optimistic as I usually am. It's like, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But NFTs in particular, I have seen a slowdown in sales, and I think people just are kind of still trying to make their way out of that bear market that we've been in for so long, that people are buying NFTs is just not as much. And even me specifically, I collect as well, and I haven't really collected much lately. I think I collected maybe one thing per month the past, I don't know, 6 months or so.
Yeah. I have a problem when it comes to collecting art on the blockchain. I'm not going to lie. But overall, I think that it's also interesting. Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's
a good
cool.
problem for the artists.
No, exactly, right? It's good for the artists, right? We got to be out here, and I know I'm not the only one. Shout out to all the art collectors out there buying art on the blockchain. It's interesting times. And honestly, there's some projects from back in 2021 that I was in love with that are just like their floor is way down, so I'm just looking and buying here and there. Shout out to the crypto rastas and the afro droids. But yeah, it's like I find it an interesting time as somebody who's not speculating and really don't care whether it goes to the moon or doesn't, or wherever the price floor kind of goes. I'm more interested in the actual collection. Those two I just mentioned have genuine communities that are excited about what's in the future. You know, like Crypto Rasta's got cool merch. They got like a whole music Rasta reggae kind of vibe going there. So that's like a really cool culture and community. And then on the Afro Droids, they're actually trying to pull together like a movie and TV show and all of this right now. So that's really interesting. I know you mentioned the VeeFriends, or you're a big supporter of the VeeFriends. I saw some pictures of you and Gary Vee. How are you feeling about the VeeFriends, or how are you feeling about like those kind of PFP collections that are still around and actually trying to give back value to their communities? You know, how do you see that evolving?
Well, yeah, the VeeFriends, I've been following them since like before the mint. And I didn't mint one the first go around. There's been 2 series, right? There's the series 1, which was the original collection that he put out, and those were like I've been following Gary Vee for a long time. For anyone who doesn't know, he's the creator of VeeFriends, and so I knew from the beginning that he was going to do the NFT project, and he was like, you guys gotta get in it, like this is going to be huge, like. And I remember just watching and being like, it was like, I want to say they went for like 1 ETH or something crazy like that. Yeah,
that was insane. Like I like Gary Vee too, but I was like, nah, there's no way I'm even remotely interested in that.
No, I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford it, so I just watched. And then he dropped another collection. I was able to get in on that one, and it was like significantly less. I think it was still a good amount. It was like 0.3 ETH, which is, you know, it was a good amount. But anyway, yeah, they've been super supportive. You know, he has put on VeeCon like he promised. Like he has really delivered a lot. And so I went to VeeCon 1, VeeCon 2, probably be at VeeCon 3. Oh, yeah, there we are. See, that's a photo right in the middle.
Yeah.
It was just his birthday yesterday, actually.
Nice.
And so those are just some photos that we've taken throughout the years. The first time I met him was at VeeCon on the left. In the middle, that's him at VeeCon last year when he was doing his keynote. And then you can see me like right there on the corner, because that's a Instagram dual camera story that I took. You know what I'm talking about.
Looking nice in the cowboy hat.
Yes, I like to wear my hat. And then right there was at a Scope event in Miami. And I forget who took this photo. I think it was my friend Valerie, actually, took this candid photo of us. But yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I was at Scope in Miami last year. It's pretty amazing.
Wait, so you were there at this event? Oh wait,
I don't think I saw Gary Vee there. It's probably just bad timing, but I did attend Scope for a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he had a Vayner, his company Vayner did a whole activation there at Scope on one of the nights. And so they had like a private event for a little while. And then later on at night, they had another like bigger private event. This one here was like for a women's meetup specifically, that we were there.
Ooh, cool. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Gary Vee. I like the kind of hustle mentality as far as content, and like the idea that there is so much value in being able to push your content and actually create content on social media. Of course, it's not for everyone, and you know, I think there are a lot of considerations to you know, take into account. But definitely, he's a great motivational speaker, and a real one. You know, you could tell he really wanted VeeFriends to be what he said it was going to be, and he's made the effort to make it kind of come to fruition. So to that question about like regaining that hype, regaining kind of the excitement around the possibility of what these collections can do, you know, are PFPs ever gonna like be that popular again, or do you think that like the art lane is gonna really win the day and be kind of the more like useful use case, as opposed to maybe this like massive collections and using it as kind of investment vehicles to then build a project and hopefully it works, but it might not? Do you think that model is still going to work? Like, how do you view that conversation?
I think that model is going to work. It is going to work, but it's going to work very small amount of times for a very limited amount of people. So, you know, like, because if you think about it, even now, there's maybe 20 NFT projects or communities that were PFP projects that are still in like, even in business, even doing anything, even hosting Twitter spaces.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that are still, you know, providing some kind of value to their community. So I think that model like didn't really work for like 90% of the people who launched. And I think it's still going to be the same. Like it's going to work for maybe a 10%, the top 10.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
if that.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got to wonder, out of that 90%, how many of them were just like complete rug pulls, never intended to actually be anything, and how many were legitimately trying to pull something together and just failed at it? You know, it could be 50-50, it could be 80% rug pulls, who knows? But the problem is it's just a bit of a flawed system, because generally you have to have a real business plan with people that are fully doxed and like fully accountable for what they're presenting, and then you get some investment, you know, not just like, we're an anonymous group of degens and we're going to do this cool metaverse project, come buy our stuff, and like thousands of people just buy it and they become millionaires and they just say peace out. You know, it's kind of crazy. So I'm hoping that that model is going away, but you know, like you said, there are a handful that are actually trying to pull something together, so we'll see. But I know the art is not going anywhere, and I, you know, continue to have this podcast and talk to awesome creators like yourself because I see the value in it for a lot of artists and creators. So I noticed here you have a picture of yourself in Decentraland doing a little performance in the metaverse. So tell us about that event first, and then I'm curious about your thoughts on the metaverse more broadly. But what were you up to here?
Yeah, sure. It might be a video, maybe not. I forget. I placed, no, it's a photo. I think you're right.
Picture,
yeah, I basically, that was a performance in Decentraland. The first time I was there. And what you're looking at is a photo of me on like the screen behind the DJ booth of what is a club in Decentraland. Okay, so somebody built a club in Decentraland, and I basically was like the DJ, because I mean I kind of was the DJ, because I curate the music that I'm performing to, right? So it's all my music.
Oh, there you go.
You know, low key, very lo-fi DJ. But anyway, so yeah, that's what you're looking at, and essentially you can see me in mixed reality. So this is a mixed reality performance, which is a little different than a VR performance, because here I'm like superimposed, and behind me is what I'm looking at. So it's like,
so how do you do that?
How do I do that?
Yeah, how do you get it to be mixed like that in one camera?
I used my phone, actually. My phone was able to do that with the Oculus app. And so with the Oculus app, you're able to like Bluetooth sync it with your headset. So, okay, first of all, okay, if you have a VR headset, an Oculus, you can have a Meta Quest app, right? That goes with it. And you can cast from your headset to the app. So someone could be holding your phone and they could see what you're looking at in your headset. Okay, that's the first part, all right? Then there's a way to actually record in mixed reality mode there on the app. And so that's basically what I did. It takes a lot of fiddling to get it to work, actually. So I don't do it as much as I should, but yeah, that's what that is. It's like mixed reality pass-through mode, and it's all in the Oculus.
Did it need like another camera besides the phone to like show you in front of it? That's just really cool.
It's all on my
I've never
phone.
heard of this before.
I know. It's actually a super underrated feature. Just my phone, literally. Like I had my phone pointed at me, and
so it does kind of an auto green screen thing where it just like captures you and puts the rest of it out of. Oh, that's really awesome. Yeah.
Exactly, and it somehow knows where you are because it's like it's connected to the headset, which is casting to it. It's so like technically cool, and it's like beyond how I could even explain it. Like I don't
you just explained it pretty good. Yeah,
I was able to
and then live streaming it too, right? Because you would have had to live stream it out to what, like Twitch or YouTube, and then they capture it and play it in Decentraland.
See how to go and ask.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's actually okay, this was not a true live stream, I gotta say. Okay, this is like when you ask like a magician how he did his
I'm
trick.
getting the sausage making ingredients here.
I haven't told this to anybody outside of my household, but yeah, it was a pre-recorded, because that's the only way to do it. Because like, how am I gonna live stream that mixed reality capturing that's going on from my phone to anywhere? Like that just seems like that would be above the capabilities of the phone.
That would be next level, and the phone might crap out on that. It might not quite hold up very well trying to live stream that.
Yeah, although now that I think about it, okay, I know how I could do it. I could do that, and while I could have another phone like stationed in front of my phone screen and like live streaming my phone screen, but that would be the only way, and it would probably not, right? Okay,
yeah,
exactly.
no, that I don't think that would pan out as well as it could, in theory. That's really cool. That's quite the integration, quite the activation in the metaverse. So looking at the metaverse conversation, is this something that you've done multiple times? Is it something you're kind of really interested in, as far as, you know, doing more events in the metaverse and actually being able to kind of blend your VR art, performance art with the metaverse? Is it?
Yeah, I've done it just a couple times. I do want to show you. Wait, before you leave.
Okay.
If you can just zoom in on this, on the sculpture, because that sculpture is what I was making in the photo of in Decentraland.
Nice.
So that's why that is right there. That's why I put the photo right there next to that thing, because that.
Did you mint this one?
Different. Huh?
Did you mint this one?
I think I did. I think I might have. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it is minted. And if not, I minted at least one of them. So I did 2 performances in Decentraland, and I minted one. Yeah, that was called BPM. I believe I did mint that. Yeah.
Cool.
And then the other one, I don't think I've minted. And back to that, like, I just haven't minted every single one because A, the marketing, B, the Ethereum required.
Gas fees, yeah. I hear you. And for stuff like that, for the provenance, it is good to put it on a layer 1, you know, to put it on Ethereum. It could be worth the gas. You got to wait till like the middle of the night in Eastern time. That's when the gas is the lowest, I think. But yeah, no, this is really cool. And when you mint these type of creations, are they OBJ files, or what kind of files do they mint in?
Yes, OBJ, or I want to say pretty much everywhere it takes OBJ or GLTF, but not really. No, I want to say most it's OBJ files. But I have the other file types available for my collectors if they require, you know. And I usually also try to give them a USDZ file, which allows you to open it up in augmented reality using your phone, like your phone's augmented reality tech. That's so you don't have to download another app to open that. If you
and then you can get pictures of people sharing it in random AR placements, right? That's good for content. And you're like, you know, send me your AR placements, and you can get pictures from all over the world, right?
Yeah, and I have had my one of my collectors did that and like tagged me and shared photos of him putting his, you know, sculpture that I made in places, and I was just like, that's so cool. Like, I'm just so glad that like someone likes it enough to do that. That's fun. That's
super cool concept. We've been working with kind of a bit of AR stuff in this DAO that I'm working with, and one of the things was just like pulling together artwork to have in an AR art walk. So like you could just kind of go around Miami and find you know, different art pieces that were dropped in AR on this like map. So it's kind of a cool option. Looking at the VR kind of adoption conversation, like, do you think that these VR headsets are kind of the way of the future, or do you see like it being kind of a competition between augmented reality and virtual reality? I know Apple's new headset, right, is basically looking to blend the two, where you'll be able to kind of go in between AR and VR mode. How do you see this whole evolution kind of moving, you know? And are you partial to any of the different kind of XR extended reality options, or you're really just kind of here for the whole thing and just open to whatever happens?
I'm here for all of it, but I do think VR right now I think they're very different, right? So VR, you're completely in the world. You're completely in virtual reality, right? It's like a very, I don't know, like all encompassing, like you're in it. You can't be doing other stuff. Like you're doing that. With augmented reality, then you're not in it. You have your phone and you're superimposing something on what you're already seeing. So it's a lot more like in the real world is augmented reality. VR is more of like a solo thing for most people. So I think augmented reality just has that advantage that you can share it with people and that you're not doing it like by yourself necessarily. So yeah, I think AR is obviously going to be adopted much faster. Just by the nature, right? And I don't think there's necessarily a fight, you know, it's just different modes. It's two different things almost. I mean, I get it. We're playing with reality, but at the end of the day, it's like completely different activity, you know, putting on a headset and, you know, most people have phones. So I think augmented reality really just has that, like, you know, really going for it.
A little
So
bit more accessible.
Yeah, I'm making art that can be viewed in augmented reality and in virtual reality. So I'm covering my bases.
You're here for it all, for sure. And I agree with what you're saying as far as VR. You know, it's definitely more immersive, right? And I think as people embrace it more and maybe become more comfortable in the virtual reality world, it will be, you know, more accessible. And obviously, as the technology continues to evolve and it becomes A, cheaper, and B, easier to jump into it without needing like a really kind of higher quality computer or phone, you know, then I think we'll see a lot more of integration. But I think the AR kind of leads people to want to be in the VR world, right? I think there's a little bit of that where it's like, yeah, it's cool, but now I just want to jump like full on into the digital world, right? So
that's a good point. It's like a gateway. It's like the gateway to.
I know. They're related, right? It's all connected. So what's the NFT scene like in Hawaii? You know, you said you're in Maui, so you know we love to hear perspectives from the different global perspectives around the world. And you know, I know some have active communities, some have no community at all. Where I'm at here, I feel like I'm one of like 5 people who know what NFTs are in this city. So what's it like out in Maui and Hawaii?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of that one or two people here that collects NFTs or makes NFTs. I do know there's an artist named Kelly. I don't know her last name, but she's really good, and she was showing at NOLCHA in NYC this year in the same event that I did, and she does really cool underwater photography.
Oh, wow.
Look her up, Kelly Maui underwater photography.
Kelly Maui.
You'll probably find her.
Nice. I actually feel like I might have seen her on Twitter.
You probably have. I bet you follow her.
Okay.
But so she, you know, she's around, but she's on the other side of the island, so I don't really get to hang out with her.
Not
much.
in Maui.
She's in Maui, but just on the other side.
Okay. Other side of Maui. I don't know the geography of Hawaii clearly.
Yeah, it's even if you're on the same island, the island's so big. It's like I'd have to drive maybe 3-4 hours to see her.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a bit of a trek, and here the road is like one lane each way. Literally, you're like going around the perimeter of the island, so it's not like the easiest drive. But anyway, so yeah, I know her. I know there's at least one or two other people that I know. There's one VR artist that lives in Maui as well, in Makawao. But I don't think he does NFTs. So yeah, we really need help out here. And if anyone is listening and you're in Maui and you're into this sort of thing, hit me up.
Yeah. Are you looking at doing anything local? You know, I've got a few people. Shout out to TP. She's one of the few Manitobans I know from the NFT space. And, you know, we're looking at doing something local to the point that I was saying there's not many people wanting to, you know, create NFTs or know about NFTs where I'm at. Maybe you guys take the initiative, you know, connect with Kelly, create some like Maui-based NFT group, you know, and just push it forward.
Yeah, I have thought about that. I just don't know if there's like enough real interest from the community. Like I think most people, and I know most people like to go outside. Like the most social place, the place where I hang out with friends the most is at the beach. It's like people go to the beach
it's
on
Hawaii,
their days
right?
off.
I think that's what everyone thinks about when they think about Hawaii.
Yeah, it's such a cliche, but it's literally what people do. So if you go do anything, like it's probably not going to be go somewhere, hang out, talk about blockchain and NFTs. Like,
you just gotta merge the beach with the NFTs. There's a way.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I did think it would be cool to do like some kind of like retreat for like Web3 people. I think that'd be kind of cool, which is not the same thing as what you're saying. Like doing
that would
meetups.
still be cool though, and it would bring some, you know, good opportunity and good perspectives to Hawaii, and maybe that would get other people excited locally. If they see a lot of people coming to Hawaii for a Web3 conference, that could do it for sure.
Who knows? I don't know, but I'm open to it. And if anyone wants to start a group, let me know.
Nice. Let's go. Let's hear about it. I want to hear about the cool Maui-based NFT group that's starting. I look forward to hearing about that.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, keep me posted. I'm kind of mesmerized by this interesting pyramid piece you got here in the Metaverse. Looks like it's merging some Chichen Itza vibes, kind of, and butterfly and people in traditional dress. You want to give me a little bit of background on that? It's pretty cool. I'm assuming it has some of your cultural vibe in there.
Yeah. Well, what's cool, actually, you see the butterfly that's next to it, the 3D sculpture next to it. That sculpture is that butterfly that you see there repeated on the screen.
Nice. On the top there.
That exact one. So I took a photo of it in VR, exported it, did all sorts of stuff, and that's in an I forget, honestly, I forget what it's even called. If you can look, Meso Mariposas. Oh, that makes sense.
Meso Mariposas.
That was my first AI artwork that I minted, actually. And I think I was minted on mint gold dust, and I think that was through a curation with Searchlight, if I'm not wrong. It's been a while.
Doesn't want to load, apparently.
I think it'll take you out of the place. But oh no, see, that's weird. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to minting on too many platforms, because you don't know which ones are going to.
All of a sudden, the link's not working. What happened?
I'm kind of annoyed now. This is the first time I'm hearing that this isn't working. So now I'm kind of
It could just be a one-time thing. Who knows? Links go down sometimes. Who knows? Shout out to Mint Gold Dust. I know they got a good platform. No hate, no shade.
I'm gonna have to go through my stuff and check and see if that NFT is still available for people to collect. It should be, though. So anyway, okay. But about it, so it was the first time I did it, and I do have indigenous roots. I was born in Mexico, and if you know any history at all, the part of Mexico where I'm from used to be is now the United States, but used to be Mexico, right? And so, but we won't get into that too much. Anyway,
you say it's the part of Mexico where you're from?
Yeah, so I was born in Baja California, which is the Mexico part of what most people know as California, which is part of the U.S., right? It's just the further north. But that also used to be Mexico before. It wasn't the Louisiana Purchase. It was a different treaty.
Texas War or something, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, I like to give homage anywhere I can. And so this is one of those artworks where this is inspired by Teotihuacan, which is the largest pyramid complex in North America. And that one's actually found near Mexico City, which is the capital of Mexico. And which I've visited many times. So that was kind of the inspiration for this. And I believe I did Midjourney for this one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I used Midjourney, the AI tool. And then I did some painting with Procreate above it. And then I went and I superimposed the 3D sculpture that I made in different,
That's really cool. It's got layers for real. And I was thinking it has more than just AI. I could see a little bit of AI in it, but definitely it's got a lot of layers, and I hadn't noticed that it had the 3D in there. So that's pretty cool. Very, very interesting.
It's not something that I think I wrote down or anything, but also just the background. So butterflies in Mexican culture and in some folklore, represent the souls of fallen soldiers or just the souls of people who've already who've passed on. So that is also just the significance part of it too. It's not just,
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. Beautiful. I'm glad I asked about it. It's really a really cool piece of art. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Mint Gold Dust can fix that link for you.
Yeah, I'm check on that.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. But the art is amazing. Yeah. Looking at this gallery, is it something that you use actively, like to kind of promote your brand? How do you see galleries like this from a kind of functional utility standpoint? Yeah. How do you use it? Do you use it for marketing? Is it more just kind of an experiential thing that you have? Do you see a future where people kind of have their NFTs on the wall like you do here and actually actively use it to try to sell? Be like, hey, come visit my gallery, buy some art and appreciate it. How are you looking at using this kind of space?
Yeah, I think that's the idea. For me, it's like a kind of like a portfolio, but it's also like, come check out this experience, because it is a bit of an experience. You're like looking, I mean, everywhere you look, and I have a lot more art I could put here, but I feel like this is kind of a happy medium where like it's not too much for people to, you know. And so here, actually, I would love to talk about this. This is my latest NFT. We'll see if it loads, but it's a GIF, I believe, that we're looking at here. Anyway, the NFT is on Tezos. It's an open edition. I think there's about 10 days left. And it is titled VR Performance. So it's just about a 5-second clip of a performance that I did. And that one was commissioned by Paris Hilton, took place 11/11.
No big deal. No big deal. Just hanging out with Paris Hilton.
But, you know, I got to meet her for just like 2 seconds. Hey. But anyway, I absolutely appreciate, you know, her being a collector and like supporting in this. And so, yeah, this is literally footage from that very performance. And then this is also my first time minting a video of a VR performance as an NFT. You know, previously there are some videos of clips from my performances, but those are specifically made for the collectors of the sculpture. Known Origin has this like embedded NFT feature where you can make an NFT and then embed another NFT in it. So I did that for some of my sculptures, but this is like the first standalone that I've done like this. And it's a collaboration with my sister because she actually was the videographer.
Nice.
So,
gotta give
and
the
that's also why
credit for sure.
And that's exactly why I haven't minted most of my performances as videos before. That's why I do just the 3D sculpture, because then I'm like, well, I don't always have the videographer, you know, I got to get their permission. And then that's a whole thing. Not all videographers even want to mint. Like I had one videographer who took really good video of me recently, last year. And I asked him afterwards, I'm like, hey, can we make this an NFT? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, all right, send me your wallet so we can like, I can add you to the contract. It never sent me a wallet. So I'm like, I don't want to bug you, but I'm like, and then I feel like I can't mint it without, you know, like they're being involved, you know? So it's
good for you.
This is the first time. And this is the only time.
Sticking to those morals, sticking to that ethos, you know?
Hey, you
know?
That's
very Web3. That's good. That's what's up.
I don't want somebody coming after me, like, in 10 years being like, I videographed your performance and you did it. Like I don't
and you
want
made
that.
Thousands of dollars on that video. Give me my money.
Exactly. Yeah. And so just because, you know, people aren't buying them for thousands now doesn't mean it's, you know, down the line they won't realize what, what it
provenance,
is.
Right? It's what it's all about. The first VR performance artist putting her work on the blockchain, you know, that's some real provenance there. So definitely everyone check out Creatress's drop on object.com. That's objkt.com for those who don't know. 20 Tezos. Look up Creatress. You'll find it there. Very cool VR performance. You got some other cool NFTs as well on the object, on the Tezos blockchain. So definitely go check that out. That's awesome. Looking at the Web3 ethos I was just mentioning, another piece of it is around data, you know, and the concept that, you know, I'm hoping Web3 ushers in data sovereignty, right? And we know in Web 2, we've just basically given up our data to the social media overlords, and they go through our phones and they brainwash us with their crazy ads and all this stuff. So I hope that, Web3 can usher in a different modus operandi of like how we do business on the internet, but looking at VR, there's a lot of conversation around data in VR, right? And not just necessarily like the fact that they're getting more biometric data, right? Your eyeballs and different kinds of things that they didn't have already. So now it's a new layer of data that they're getting. But on top of that, for someone who's creating art in VR, how do you look at it from even like an IP perspective? Do you have concerns about data in the virtual reality world, and how do you feel that kind of conversation evolving?
Yeah, I absolutely, because it's something that I feel like it's one of those things that I can't really control, so I don't think about it too much. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, especially with the new headset, the MetaQuest Pro that I have, and like shout out to Meta because they gave that to me when I did the performance for Paris Hilton. They were actually sponsors at that same event at the Innovation Summit, and so they reached out, through her team to see if I wanted it. Like this was maybe a month after the release of the Pro headset. So, but what to your question, I mean, this headset is able to read more of your face now. It has more cameras on the inside that can track your face movements, so that when you're in VR and you have your avatar can do all these like micro expressions, like raise your eyebrow and like squint and whatever. But that means obviously that they're getting all that data in real time immediately, like and what are they going to use that for? I mean, probably to make their games better, and by better probably means, I don't know, better for them, because that's usually how that works. So yeah, the implications are not good. They're not great. Definitely don't put it on young kids. I've definitely seen like, I don't know, 5, 4, 3-year-olds even with VR headsets. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if that's good. So yeah, it's kind of a doomsday George Orwell 1984 talk that we're kind of talking about. But
I was hoping maybe you had a more optimistic view. Data, we got this. We're turning the page on those crazy.
I have a realistic point of view, unfortunately, on this. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure. I hope that there's some kind of regulation when it comes to like what data they can store and what they can do with the data that they're getting when it comes to like our pupil dilation. Like there's literally stuff on the pupil dilation and like what that means when it comes to like what you're seeing and like all this stuff. So just hope it works out. I hope some regulators are on this. Regulators, please be on this.
That's it. Those regulators, they can mess things up or they can make things better for us. So, we hope there's smart ones taking some good measured approaches to these things so that we can get the right outcome for sure. Well, that's really exciting. I don't know if we have any other questions from the chat, but I do want to hear, what's next for Creatress? What do you got around the corner? You got this awesome NFT drop on Object going on right now. Another 6 days to claim that or go mint one for yourself. But what else do you have kind of on the go, and anything you want to share with us as far as creative initiatives or your awesome podcast or show that you got on X?
Oh,
What's
right.
What's new and exciting for Creatress?
That's always fun. I do have another mint that I'm going to be doing coming up soon on Rad, and it's gonna be like, this is just like a teaser, right? But like, and I haven't posted anything about it either, but it's gonna be like viewable in VR. It's gonna be a video actually, so it's gonna be another performance NFT. It's probably gonna be a little bit longer video. I don't know which one. It's probably gonna be the same, from the same performance, because that's the only videographer that I can get a hold of and give credit to and collaborate with. So thankfully there's a lot of footage from that performance. So yeah, I think that'll be next. But please, tune into our show. I have a show called There's Layers to This with my wonderful co-hosts Valerie V Dizzle 777 and Tyler Culbertson, and that one is about the different layers of the blockchain, the different layers in lasagna, the different layers of like our lives. And we talk about Web3 happenings, Web3 news. We also live stream and just talk about art, talk about Web3, talk about food. Food is a central topic as well. And outside of that, that's on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST. Outside of that, next event I think will be NFT.NYC 2024. Nice. That I'm looking forward to. So if anyone wants to book a performance, creatressart.com is the place to go, get more info, get in touch, and it's plenty of time. It's in April. So
yeah, I think April 3rd. I got locked in for a speaker gig there as well. I'm pretty excited about it. My first time actually talking at NFT.NYC.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that for sure. I'll be also attending Art Basel Miami next month. So that's the next kind of Web3 event that I'll be at, but definitely NFT.NYC will be a big one too. Are you speaking there? Are you having your art featured there, or are you just attending, or what's your plans?
Well, actually, you know, that NFT that I have that we just talked about, the open edition on Tez, that is actually being featured at NFT.NYC as well.
There you go.
In the collaboration category. Nice. I know. Congrats. It's crazy. It's super cool. For me, especially because it's a collaboration with my sister, you know, it's like, so, yeah, I haven't applied to speak, but I am going to. That's like on my to-do list. I want to do a panel for the VR Alliance. Now, for this is also, I should share the VR Alliance if anyone wants to join. We have a Twitter group of VR artists, and we talk about all the latest VR art that we create, new VR tech. We talk about headset stuff, things like that. And so I want to do a panel where we talk about it, and we actually have a VR Alliance spatial gallery that we custom made in Gravity Sketch. So me and another artist got together in VR, sculpted a gallery, and then imported into Spatial. And I should have showed you that. Actually,
I should have dropped that link. You're gonna have to check that out. We'll have to go digging for it, or we'll just have to have you back on the show and we'll talk more about it.
I'll come back and we could talk about it, and maybe I could get one of the other members of the VR Alliance.
That would be amazing. Honestly, I think out of all the kind of like angles of Web3, VR is definitely one of those areas that I'm still, learning something new every time I talk to people who actually are active in VR, because I have been a little bit reluctant on that whole eyeball conversation we were having, and Meta's track record on data, I'm a little but I am going to eventually jump in with both feet, but definitely would love to have the VR group on there. VR Alliance is the first I've heard of them, so that would be a really cool interview, and I look forward to that. So I look forward to also connecting in NYC. That's really awesome. Any other IRL events you're doing before then?
Not as of now, but stay tuned. I shouldn't say this out loud, but it's okay. Here's some alpha. I did hear from someone affiliated with CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, I believe is what it's called. It's like a huge expo in Vegas every year. Actually, here, let me pull it up. It's actually, that might not be the actual acronym, but I think it is. I went once, but it was about 10 years ago. And actually, I went there to represent a smartwatch company back then, before the Apple Watch came out.
There was still competition.
Consumer Technology Association. So CES is basically the Consumer Electronics Show.
I think I'm familiar. I've heard about it. It's just basically a big retail show, right? Like all the newest tech coming out.
All the newest tech, like in the world. It's wild. I remember they had like the driverless Mercedes there, I think, when we first went. It's just like appliances, even. Like I think they had appliances that they were showing. I just remember walking through it when I was working, and it was really cool. So I would love to be part of that. So fingers crossed. You never know. Maybe something will happen.
Good luck. I hope that works out. That sounds amazing. I haven't actually been to Vegas yet, so one of these days I got to get out there for sure. But I'll just keep making the Web3 rounds, and it'll lead me there one day.
There's plenty of Web3 stuff that happens in Vegas, it seems, but this is not Web3 specifically, but I think it probably has some Web3 presence there, I would say.
Nowadays, you're talking tech, there's going to be some kind of blockchain integration or anything like that. Well,
yeah, there's got to be.
I know you've got your son and you're there and busy, so I don't want to keep you too long. I want to respect your time. Is there anything else you want to add or any final points you want to mention before we wrap up here?
No, I think just, check out my website if you want to learn more. Check out my spatial gallery like we did today. There's a few portals to a few other galleries that I've made, featuring either my friend's art that I curated or my just my collection of art, because I have a pretty big art collection now. So nice. I curate that into exhibitions as well in Spatial. So yeah, check that out. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Very cool. Oh, thank you for joining. And that website was creatressart.com. And we'll also have a link to this spatial gallery in the description below our video and below the podcast episode, so everyone can go check it out if you're listening to the recording. And with that, Creatress, I really am so grateful for this opportunity, and we'll definitely have you back again. And I love watching your progression in VR and on the blockchain, and really grateful. And I'm definitely going to be tuning in to There's Layers to this next week. So looking forward to joining. It's always fun and kind of interesting show. So with that, thank you everyone for joining. We'll catch you all in the metaverse. Take care. Peace out.